Hey gang, let me show you where I'm at. All right, so progress. 7 in, 3 to go. I'm gonna work on that today. I've got a name, I've got artwork, and these are completely finished. They're mixed, mastered, and I'm ready to go. I just need to do vocals on the last 3, and they're almost mixed already. So it should be pretty quick. I'm gonna try to finish it all up by tonight if possible, and hopefully have a brand new album completely finished. Wanted to give you a little peek under the hood and just show you what goes into one of these. As you can see, I read a lot of songs. That's not even including what's in the folders. But here's the Album Writing Club folder, and here are the 10 songs that I'm recording for this project. All brand new stuff that nobody's ever heard before. Let's just take a look at one of these. So here's a typical song. We've got the drums down here, bass part. I do everything from scratch. I often use musical typing to lay down kind of a basic thing, and then I go down and mess around and create the beats and the fills and all that stuff. And the same for bass. And then the guitar, I found a mixture of some clean sounds that when they're brought together, they sound pretty good for a clean channel, and then I've got some distorted ones that I like. For this particular song, I've got some leads, I've got a guitar solo. It's always a good idea to mark your stuff, to label it properly so you know what takes are what. I like to record the main rhythm part twice through and then duplicate it and send both of them off to the left and to the right. Bass and drums I like to send down the middle. Leads, for this particular song, I just played through the leads once each because there's a lot going on with this one. There's a keyboard part here, and then vocals. You'll notice there's a lot of space. If the microphone, if I'm not singing or if I'm not playing, I don't want the microphone to be picking up nothing. So I like to clean things up before I send it off to iTunes. And then I've got my master here. I like to put a fade at the end of these. You'll also notice that there's a little bit of space at the very, very beginning of the song. That's why when you look at the drum parts, they're not really lining up with the measures properly. That's because they are when I'm working on it, but when right before I send it off, when it's all mixed and mastered and finished, I like to select everything and move it over just a little bit. And that's because there are certain CD players and certain streaming services, SoundCloud is definitely a culprit of this, that will cut off the very beginning of a song. Like, we're talking not even a split second, but it's enough to clip the very first note, and it bugs the hell out of me, so I always move things over just a little bit. So there's a little tip for any of you budding recording artists out there. Move things over just a little tiny bit, give it a tiny bit of space, a little bit of breath, and it will help do away with that clipping at the beginning of songs that I occasionally hear. Usually with CD players, it's just the first song of the CD that happens, but even so, I like to do it on every song of mine. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, I do vocals the same way I do guitar. I sing the main part through twice, exact, and I duplicate those 2 takes and send one to the left and one to the right each. You'll notice that these 2 are identical and these 2 are identical because I sang through twice, and then I duplicated, and then left, right, and then the harmonies I just sing through once and I duplicate, send one to the left, one to the right. Yeah, then I'll just I'll master it using a Pop Basic. Oops, computer's being funky. Pop Basic template right in Garageband, and I'm happy with that, and I've gotten some pretty good sounds from it. So I started out using Logic, and I've been in studios that use Pro Tools, and I've found for what I do, this is enough. Sometimes less is more. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that I use the same bass and drum kit. I really like these particular sounds, and I used those two throughout the entire album. And I don't touch the levels throughout the entire album either on these two. Everything else I play around with quite a bit, but the drum and bass is going to be consistent throughout. Also, the amps that I'm using throughout the album are, if it's clean, it's going to be a mixture of the same types throughout, and if it's distorted, it'll be a mixture of the same types throughout. I want to keep consistent sounds. The keyboards I play around with, I have different keyboards on certain songs, and of course the vocals, it's all me, so that'll be consistent, of course. I wanted to show you one more trick or tip with Garageband in case you happen to be using it, and it's in the preferences. If you go over to Advanced, there's this part that says export projects at full loudness, and by default it's checked, and you would think that you would want to do this, but you don't. It doesn't make any sense, but you want to uncheck this, and for whatever reason you're going to get the best sound and you're going to get louder sounds. I don't understand this at all. Why it says that it's going to be full loudness, it's not true. So if you ever find that you are having issues with GarageBand when you send it over to iTunes and it sounds quieter than your other songs that you have in there, professionally done, uncheck this. That's probably why.